Good evening, everyone. This is BEBE Davis, publisher and founder of 1021 Magazine, and I welcome you to tonight's live stream. This is live stream with chat, and the live stream will be made available once the chat is finished. Live stream with chat means you can join into the conversation, you can ask questions, and if I am able to answer the questions, or if my contributing staff who are on live stream, if they're able to get the proper answers for me. If I don't have the proper answers, then we will. And if not, during this broadcast, then we will bring that back up again. We have sent out the information on all of the social media platforms. We were to go on at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, but that didn't happen. So we are at 9:35 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And I welcome you to tonight's live stream. Tonight's live stream, we are back with Series 2 for the coronavirus. This is Coronavirus 2020, Deactivating Once Upon a Normal. That's the name of the series. We looked at collectively other titles that we could use, but this was the most poignant because that is what we're going to be doing for all week. You can check back here at our official YouTube channel for dates and time of this weekly series. We may not do the daily as we did for Series 1, but we will be doing multiple conversations and live streams and non-live streams here on this channel. So make sure you check back. If you're subscribed to the channel, welcome to the channel. If you're visiting, welcome to the channel. If you're thinking about subscribing to the channel, of course, welcome to the channel. So let's just jump right into it, and we're going to put on a little bit of music. This is going to be a relaxed live stream broadcast, and I have my coffee and I have my talking points. So we're going to let you get a few moments to settle in if you are watching this broadcast live, or if you're watching at another time and you're trying to get some other stuff to do before you settle in. So welcome to 1021. I'm BEBE Davis, publisher and founder of 1021 Magazine, where the motto is Limitless and Timeless, and I'm live streaming from one of the family properties. So welcome to the live stream. Sunday, April the 19th, and I want to talk about personal experience that I have experienced, especially when we're in the midst of media reporters and just Americans and people worldwide affected by the coronavirus pandemic. My experience, I want to just kind of get this out of the way. I have agreed not to name names or name the county, but I will name the state. And again, one of our properties in the state of South Carolina, they're visiting, and there were in the neighborhood and around the county people who did not practice the stay-at-home order that was given in South Carolina by Governor McMaster. And that stay-home order took effect April 7th. So this happened, actually, this is a week since that incident, and that was Easter weekend, of all weekends for that to happen. So I will not name the county at this time. I will not name the law enforcement that did not do their jobs, because I'm working with the mayor and I'm working with the captain of the police department to see exactly what they're going to do to calm down things that should be calmed down. Now, we know that everyone is not going to take the stay-at-home order to the T. And what does that mean just for my incident? Well, the stay-at-home or work order, what it stipulates for South Carolinians is that you must remain at home unless they are participating in essential businesses or essential activities, including obtaining supplies. And these supplies are essential to your household, to your working. You go get what you need and you come home. Or seeking medical care. Or traveling to or visit a family member. But the key word is care. Traveling to care for a visit or family member. Attending religious services. And then they cut down on that part because of the rise in the numbers of the infections and those who are infected. And traveling for court proceedings or other legal obligations, participating in outdoor recreation, or caring for pets. Okay, if you are not doing these things, the governor's home or work order, it went into effect April 7th at 5 p.m. You could, if you're found in violation, and the law enforcement persons are supposed to carry out the violation, you could be subjected to either a fine of $100 or 30 days in jail. Now, myself, being in media reporting, the cameras may always roll. The recordings may always roll. And that is the blessing upon myself. In the community, which is quiet, a really nice community, okay? You have one person that comes in and they move in, and that is a racer. It just happened to be a guy that races cars, and he's in a racing group. And he's been called upon several times to cease the noise, so he hasn't. So Easter weekend, last week, he has a gathering. You don't know if it's family or friends, but here's the thing. All of his so-called family or friends, they are in racer mobiles, so the cameras are rolling, and they are disturbing the peace on a Sunday. Well, it's on a Saturday, and they're just gathering. This goes well on into the night, after midnight. And so I called the law enforcement, and they made every excuse in the book not to come and take care of the situation. I'm not going to sugarcoat anything, and I don't have to sugarcoat anything, okay? Do your job. They did not do their job at all until I insisted that they drive through. And when they drove through, they did not stop. They did not do anything. Okay, so here we are, people. Every law enforcement person is not created the same, because I can tell you, I have friends, personal and professional, just all of that, people I know, and I support the law enforcement, okay? But what I don't support is those who do not do their jobs, because that is important, to do your jobs, especially in a pandemic. If other people cannot take this seriously, we don't expect for the law enforcement not to take it seriously, but that's what happened. But the cameras were rolling, and they left out noisily from evening, nighttime to going into Sunday morning Easter. And then you could hear the racing. I have spoken to the captain on several occasions about this particular person who illegal races. And he, in front of the mayor at the time for the sit down, said that he knew about the racing and how they raced for like 5 minutes for $5,000 a drop. Well, if you know about it and you know that this person could allegedly be one of them, you got to use words alleged, then you need to make sure that your persons on the force are aware of it. But everyone was nonchalant. They were hostile. They were rude, as if me, a law-abiding citizen, was doing something wrong. When you had a gathering of over 10 people, and of course, it is recorded. Booyah. Booyah. Okay, it's recorded and everything. Cursing, loud talking, all of that. And then they were racing on the other side. So then the 911 operator asked me, how do you know that they're racing? So this goes to show that a lot of people are not social distancing. But I just wanted to let you know that that was one of the things that happened to me. Another thing that had happened also was going in for the essentials, quarantining myself. Even as a media reporting person, me and my contributing staff, we make sure that even though we might be out reporting at some points, but that we're doing essential. And also, we are doing more quarantine and chilling, or quarantine and researching more than not. Okay, we're not out here breaking the rules or trying to put others at risk for contamination. Now, going to the store, moving on into another, what's happening with me, as I'm sure with others and all that kind of stuff. This person and their family, they deliberately was coughing in front of the checkout person. I probably was like 15 people behind. But once you start this crazy coughing, that gets into the air. Yes. And believe it or not, people are just coughing, actually, literally coughing. And so she stopped and she was like, please cover your mouth. Do not cough in front of me. And this made a lot of people on edge. It made some people even hostile toward the people who were purposely coughing in front of the person who's trying to help them bag their stuff. And this is intentional. So then that, and this was in like a store where you just kind of go get things, not like a grocery store, but nevertheless, you have people out here who really are taking it as a joke, are putting other people's life at risk on the serious. So what do we do? What do we do with this kind of information? Well, I'll tell you what you do. First of all, you need to mask up more than ever. When they said on the major media reportings to use your mask, use your mask. If you see people who are gathering when they should be social distancing themselves in your neighborhood or anything like that, and if your law enforcement is not doing their jobs, should you call in, then you get out and you record. You become your own reporter, because things that are recorded, they can't refute them. And then you take it to the highest level, you take it to the highest level, and you take it to the highest level, and give them an opportunity to look into it and go from there. Because this is serious. Some people think this is a joke, some people think this is a hoax, but we have the numbers and people are dying. And like I said before in the series before this, some people will not take it seriously until it hits close to home. You would think that people would have the intelligence to take this seriously, but not everyone is taking it seriously. So I say God be with all of us who are taking it serious, and just protect yourself. Protect yourself, protect your family, protect your loved ones. And one of the ways that you can protect yourself is putting on the mask. Put on the mask to protect yourself at all cost. And from there, the beauty of this whole thing, even through the yang, because I had to get this yang out of the way, is that you have people who are making homemade masks. They're being very creative. So if you're on social media, I've seen people where they've taken a t-shirt and they've made coverings for themselves. You could do half masks, you could do full masks. Just whenever you go out, make sure you have your mask and make sure you have your gloves on. Wash your hands and do the best due diligence that you can. We also have reports of people who have been spitting in people's faces. This has been a lot of the reports that have been happening a lot more in the north. But we try to give a broad scope for anything that we are covering, that it just doesn't cover where we are, but everything, because we never know who's tuning in. And 1021 Magazine, we are business based out of Charlotte, North Carolina, but we are global. We're a global digital lifestyles magazine. So this person who spit on this person in the subway, if you've been paying attention to the news, this could be new to some people, not new to others. He managed to open those doors because the person spit at him twice and he ran and caught up with him and beat him unconscious. People are on edge, and people are not going to be taking a bunch of foolishness. If you're in a community where you're paying taxes and you have one person that doesn't want to take this seriously, like what we're dealing with one of the properties, then you have the law step in and do their job. And if the law doesn't do their job, you just keep going up the ladder. Okay? Because we're not going to let one person in law enforcement or anything turn their backs on someone who's not handling their business. Like right now, I am at that location, okay, where I had to call the cops on this person that does the alleged illegal racing. And it's quiet. You haven't heard anything, because this is how the neighborhood is. It's a beautiful, nice neighborhood with people who just want to do what? Be in their chill. It's been very quiet tonight. But I will be doing my broadcast from this location and other locations, and maybe we can get him revving the engines. Earlier today, he was revving the engines, so we'll just have to see what happens. You're not in control of how ignorant other people are, but you are in control with how you handle the situation, and you be a decent citizen in these crazy times that we are living in. Okay, so again, coronavirus 2020, deactivating once upon a normal, because we will never go back to the way that it was. And here's the things that are happening now. The president is giving the governors opportunity to, and encouraging them to open back up the economy, to relax the stay-at-home orders so they can keep the economy going. Is this a good thing? Is this a bad thing? What do you think? Well, we see protesters who are saying, we want to go back to work. We definitely understand that you do want to go back to work because you want to make sure your bills are paid. You don't see the security, not even in the stimulus checks that have already started to roll out to people. People need to be putting food on the table for themselves, for children that they have to survive, and they're not feeling secure. So I don't knock those people for saying, we want to go back to work. Because I, like other people, have been in situations in my lifetime where I have been broke, where I have paid my bills and had food in the cupboards, food in the cabinets, and gas in the tank, thank God, but I had not another dime to my name. So with the gas, that could prepare me to go to work, get the next paycheck, and I could cook from home. My bills were paid. But there are some people that don't even have that kind of scenario going on, where they cannot even rub two pennies together to get it together, to have something for themselves or their children and stuff like that. And we cannot forget about that. The stimulus check that went out, it went out timely enough, but it is not enough, let's say, for a family that has ongoing bills, mortgages, children to feed, and all of that, especially if they are laid off and they are not getting any money coming in. So this is where we start talking about persons and the news out there for additional stimuluses. But first, we're going to just kind of keep it right here as far as going from the stay-at-home to relaxing the orders. Do you think that it is a good time to relax the order? I don't think that it is a good time to relax it. Not at all. Because we don't understand this disease. And even though we have the numbers that say we're flattening the curve of this virus, coronavirus, this pandemic, because we're not seeing the big numbers in certain states. So, hey, we're not seeing big numbers over here. So, hey, Governor, why don't you just open up your state? Were we not briefed, the world and even media, we were there, were we not briefed that we stay at home for essentials, do not go out unless you have to, because we don't know a lot about this disease here and we need to get a handle on things. We don't even have enough testings and stuff like that. Why should the people who have low numbers take a risk among themselves, if you have children or loved ones and stuff like that, to open back up the economy this quick? We understand that people have to and want to make money, but what good is it going to do if they go back and their place of work is not sanitized out good before they go back, and they don't have measures in place at these jobs, and then these people get infected and they die, leaving their families in a worse shape than ever? What do you do about that? Just because you're not seeing the height in numbers that they proposed a few weeks ago. It is a good thing, and I said it then on the first series, and I say it now. It is a good thing that we don't see those numbers. It is a good thing we don't see those numbers that we were projected to see. But that doesn't mean that we should open up the country right now. And I feel for those workers. I have family and friends who are some of the essential workers, and I feel for the medical staff as well. I have friends and loved ones and people that I don't know that I talk to. I mean, anybody who is on the front lines in medical. Why are we going to give them something else to strain their mental and emotional state? Because they are seeing things that are not being consistently reported on the front lines, behind the scenes. Okay, we're not worried about their mental health right now. If the curve is flattening, I think that's a great thing for those on the front lines. The police officers, the fire persons, I mean anyone, and the nurses and the medical staff and anybody who is on the front lines out there. And the grocery stores, they have to keep running to keep the world turning, not only America, but keep the world turning all over. But in America, with our president and his cabinet, you've been doing pretty okay so far as I can say. But with this saying, hey, governors, let's relax a little bit of the situation and let's try and open up the country by May 1st, I think it is irresponsible. I think if you're not listening to the specialists, the scientists, if you're not listening to those on the front lines, then you are doing a very grave mischaracter of justice. Okay? There are a number of people who are still dying. And I think that that is the wrong way to go to relax the situation. Jacksonville, relax the beaches. Ridiculous. I got, like many others, I got this alert on my phone and it said, stay home, high alert day. And then we just go from this. It is just too quick and it is highly, highly irresponsible. So let's start looking at the numbers. We're going to look at the numbers, but we're going to throw on a little bit of good music to just kind of lighten things right now, and then we'll get back into these numbers. Stay locked in.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, our own version of Cole Porter's Begin the Biggie.
Okay, we're going to put that in the background. I love me the nice standards right there. But we're going to talk about the numbers here. The coronavirus cases all over the world, and this is by the numbers, 2,406,900. Deaths globally, 165,056. Recovered, 617,004. The active cases, currently infected patients, 1,624,840. In mild condition of that number is 1,570,622. That's 97% in mild condition. In serious and critical is 54,218. That's 3%. Even one person, that is enough to say that we should not be trying to relax the situation, but help those who are in need and maybe go ahead and do another stimulus. There was talk about doing a stimulus on a monthly basis for 6 months. Do we open back up this country? Governors, since the president is giving you the power, to open it back, and when they go back to the places of work, have you sanitized those places? Do you have measures in order to daily keep the people who come back, who need to come back, to put food on the table, bills to be paid? Do you have them covered every single day, throughout the day? Somebody's going to cough. And it could not be from coronavirus. We're in spring season. It could be from hay fever or anything like that. Do we have them covered? Do you have someone in place to come in and fumigate every hour on the hour, 2 hours, 3 hours on an 8-hour shift, or just whenever? Are we even thinking about these things? Are we thinking? Many of the governors are doing pushbacks because they're talking about testings and stuff like that. But we need to get it together. because when I say we, it's just globally, but especially America. You know, governors, you do what you need to do. But if it's being put into the hands of you, let's think now. Are the deaths going to be on your head? More so than the leader telling you? It shouldn't even be on the leader's head. But I would be thinking very hard about opening up my state. And I would be listening to the people. And I would be thinking about the people versus opening back up the economy. We'd rather take a hit. It just seems like we're at this impatientness, which is going to cause more deaths. Okay, let's just keep going with the numbers here. Closed cases, which had an outcome, 782,060. Recovered and discharged, 617,004. This is globally at 79%. The deaths of closed cases, closed while others are opening, 165,056, 21%. It is just not time to open back the economy. It wasn't time to open back up for Easter Sunday. This is what you call trying to go back to the normal. We're in coronavirus 2020, and as this series says, once upon deactivating, once upon a normal. You just have to forget about all that. What do you have in place for the retail stores and stuff like that you're going to open? I mean, just anybody going back to any work that was shut down. What do you have in place for them? Continuing to fumigate the place. It has to be so many hours out of their shift that you should be doing that. And wipe downs, not them, because they need to be doing work, but another crew in place. I just think it's just, we're sending too many mixed messages here. And just because it's not happening in your city, and all this here flattening the curve stuff is just a bunch of foolishness. And that's exactly what it is. All right, so now let's just kind of, from the numbers, we're going to go to the CDC. And I'm going to put back on some music here. Music is soothing to me doing this live stream. We just were talking about media family in April and even in March about the tests. Not enough tests. Not enough tests. Now, here we talk about tests and this and that. We have to keep in mind that some people will not go take a test. But we can flatten this curve by keeping people at home, keeping these stay-at-home orders in place for another month to get a little bit of definition on the numbers. What about the talk about you could have it, but the symptoms may not come? But we're ready to open up the country. Make it make sense. It doesn't make sense. You're talking about people having cabin fever. Well, you want to have non-existent fever? Because that just may be the case. We should be glad that the numbers are leveling off, especially up in the epicenter in New York. We should be glad that the numbers have not increased in places that we are and all of that. But we're not looking out for the people on the front lines. We're not looking out for the mental and emotional state because they still have enough to deal with. You have not one medical person that sits there and says, you know, we just haven't had nobody come in here today, or we just haven't had no deaths, or we don't have anybody on ventilators. Come on. But you want to talk about our brave women and men on the front lines. But yet you're pushing open the country back. But one thing I will say, bravo. If you go on social media, which is where a lot of us, we go on to feel the climate of people, and people are going on social media to voice their concerns on different platforms because we're not interacting. I'm very proud, and give yourself a round of applause for even with them saying that they're going to open back up the country, a lot of people are not falling for it, and I don't suggest that you do the same thing either. You keep going with these stay-at-home orders as if they never left the table. If you can, if you value your life and you value trying to get back to the place where you can and you go into a new normal. not trying to go back to something that once was. When you're dealing with a virus, and the scientists and the medical experts have said over and over and over again, sans the president or anybody else trying to open back up their states, we do not have a handle fully on this virus. The most and the quickest that a vaccine will come is a year from now. We're in 2020, people. We are not in 2021. So I'm so glad that a lot of people, and a lot of young people too, I'm so glad about that. That makes me feel really, really great about the state of mind of the young people. I've always been on the pulse of a young person, and hats off to the older people too. But I love it that the young people are saying, I don't care what they say. I'm not gonna be going back out there. Y'all go back out there. They might even do it in a joke, saying, y'all take the first month, and I'll just wait and see what happens. This is what the responsibility of our government needs to be doing, just like these young people and other people with sense. Practice social distancing, quarantine more than socializing, and think about not yourself, but about the world that you want to get back to a better state. You got to have some patience here. Okay, so I'm going to take this down a bit here. And we're going to start looking here at let's look at South Carolina. We're going to go back to there because of the properties. I'm going to look at the surrounding states too. Confirmed cases in South Carolina, 4,246, and the deaths 119. And the governor is thinking about opening back up retail this week and opening back up, more and more of the state. We'll go with the highest 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We'll go with the highest 5 in South Carolina. Richland County has 612 confirmed cases and 14 deaths. Greenville County, 447 confirmed infections and 11 deaths. Charleston County, 385 confirmed, 9 deaths. Beaufort, 214 confirmed with 6 deaths. Okay, and that's for South Carolina. Now let's go to the neighboring, and our business-based city is in Charlotte. So let's go to North Carolina. North Carolina, by the numbers, 6,493 cases of coronavirus and 172 deaths. That is not to disrespect anyone who has died of the coronavirus, because we've had family, friends in my family who have died of the coronavirus. And we've had people that we know of who have had it, and some people have recovered. And then I have a distant cousin who had coronavirus and died in New York City. And some people, again, they will be serious about it. It doesn't matter if they know someone personally or not, and other people who just will not. Okay, so for Charlotte, unfortunately, our business-based city, Charlotte, North Carolina, Queen City, we're doing the first 5 in North Carolina, just like we did South Carolina just a few moments ago. Mecklenburg County has 1,178 cases of coronavirus with 24 deaths. Wake County, 592, 4 deaths. Wayne County, 463 confirmed cases of coronavirus and 4 deaths. Durham County, 383 with 5 deaths. Rowan County, 247 with 10 deaths. And then it just keeps going down. So, we wanted to do like the neighboring places, the stats. So, we did North Carolina, South Carolina, and then Georgia. Let's go take a look at Georgia. Georgia, 18,391 cases of the coronavirus with 687 deaths. And we do the first 5. Fulton County, 2,065 with 74 deaths. Let me tell you something about Fulton County. Fulton County was one of those counties that shut it down from the word almost go. When they saw those numbers started jumping and they saw that people were not social distancing, hats off to Fulton County. They was like, shut it down. And look at the under 100 cases of deaths. Daugherty County, 1,409 in Georgia with 91 deaths. DeKalb County, 1,408 confirmed cases of coronavirus, 24 deaths. Cobb County, 1,104 with the coronavirus with 51 deaths. And Gwinnett County, 1,059 with 36 deaths. And this is by the numbers. To understand a virus, it takes time, but it will not take the time like I did in series 1, whereas it took them centuries to finally get a handle on the bubonic plague, which was in the 1920s. We are more sophisticated and we have a lot more to our disposal and how to try and get a vaccine, and a year is fast. It could be even before a year. But with saying that on a virus that has, in my opinion, been mutated from others, and taking out people and having various different symptoms, not just the initial symptoms that was first given out by the CDC, but people are getting different type of symptoms. Okay, then you have these drugs touted, and we must give a round of applause to the Lupus Foundation of America. They are playing zero games. Zero. They were like, you're touting, Mr. President, this drug that is used effectively for our lupus patients, but take care, lupus patients. We will not let you go under access for the drugs that are working for you. And when they did the test of the drugs, they are not the go-to for a cure. But hats off to the Lupus Foundation of America for being champions for the people who suffer from lupus. If you know anyone who suffers from lupus, you know that is an autoimmune disease that just has been very cagey in trying to understand. There is no cure for it, but there is medications that make people live longer. Okay, I've had family members who have been affected by lupus back then and they died because they didn't have the amount of sophistication of understanding the autoimmune disease as they do now. I have a good friend who is a lupus warrior champion, and I've yet to talk to her about anything, but I mean, she is a champion for it. She does not let it get her down. But when you're just talking about people and their medications being out there touted because it may have helped someone or something like that, it's irresponsible. But I'm very proud of the Lupus Foundation of America, who are just like, don't even try it. You are not going to keep the people who need it. They're not going to have it. You can play reckless games all that you want to, but people are going to make sure that you have your drugs that you need to have. And so I say hats off to them. Okay? It's very serious times out here. I mean, you still have people who cannot get some of the essentials that they need, and so they have to go with other different outlets for things that they need. And we'll be talking about that on a more relaxed, chilled session of this week-long series, but tonight is not that night. We're not going to do that. We're hearing also that Native American people are being touted as having high numbers of coronavirus. We even have where they're targeting people of color, people of the Latino race, people of the African American race. and the Native Americans. Now the spotlight is on them and saying that their numbers are high. Their numbers are high in certain places within the United States. And what do we do about this? Well, I don't want people to think that I am being what you call a doubting Thomas, because I'm not. We're seeing these numbers in high places such as Chicago, Illinois, in Michigan areas. We're seeing it in New York. We're seeing it in New Jersey. We're seeing it a lot of places where there are high numbers of people of color. We're also seeing, yes, the numbers rise for the Native American people. It is not a shock that you're seeing these numbers, but I don't want to dumb down anything. And I'm not saying other people are dumb down, but I'm talking about for me. I don't want to dumb down saying that I don't care about people of color when I'm a person of color, and I'm also a Native person as well. I don't want to dumb down that. But what I am saying, this coronavirus, by the numbers, is affecting us all. And once we get that in our heads, that it is affecting us all, then we don't have to sit here and group stuff like nobody's not paying attention. But you have to be responsible, no matter what the skin tone is. What I'm seeing also on YouTube, people who are sharing their stories, people of color, people of different nationalities, people are coming together because they can't come together, but they're coming together on social media and saying, hey, they're not saying, hey, I'm sorry for your loss as a black person because those numbers are going up. They're just saying from a humanistic point of view, I am sorry for your loss. I'm sorry that you're sick. Get better. And I love that. And the minute that we start turning this into colorism or into a race thing is when I feel like we're going to have big problems. If in your community and in every one of those states, you have progression going, in every city, it's always a champion for the people. We the people. You will have someone champion if you have high record numbers in a certain region or a certain neighborhood in your city, state, town, whatever. And they will talk up for you to get the assistance that is needed. But you still take the social distancing and the stay at home, the quarantine and chill, however it's going to get you through this. And you do that. And the minute that we start listening to things that don't make sense to us, or we go with the norm of the crowd, of the popularity of what has been set, and we don't go with what we feel, is when we're going to really be in trouble. Let the government, if they want to, open back up. But you safeguard yourself. Make it make sense. Let it make sense. Let it make sense. Still wear your mask. And if you are scheduled to go back to work, good people, we know you got to pay those jobs. You know you got to put food on the table. We send good love to you, but also you question when you go back on those jobs, what do you have in place on these jobs for us? Or call your governors and say, my business of work is going back. What do they have in place for us while we are working? What safeguards other than the norm? Where's going to be the fumigation while I'm doing my work? I shouldn't have to do my work and just clean up around. Where's the cleanup crew? Where are the people who's going to come in? What type, or do you have disinfectants for us at our jobs to spray or whatever? What do you have in place? Because we're not going back to normal. We are deactivating once upon a normal. And we are in a new normal now. Because this disease is still out here. Until we get a report that there is no new cases that are being formed, we are in line for infection, myself and others. Just because I don't sit up here and go to 9 to 5 to a job because I am the boss, I still have to go out and get my essentials. And I am a woman of service and in media. Whereas I'm asking these questions that other people need a voice to answer, and so are others in media. I don't think it is a good idea to open back up beaches. Those things, and these are hall drops right here. That is like recreational activity. Get over it if you're not getting to the beach. You love your life? Do you love your life? What is it that you want for your life? You know, what is it? Do you respect other people's lives? What about your children? Worrying about proms and graduation. Do you want to see your children grow older? Do you want to see them grow older? Going to do as responsible Americans, and if you are having any challenges in your country, what are you going to do? Or is your country being a lot more responsible, the leaders? It's not that we don't understand that people have to pay bills, but just like that stimulus that happened, we don't need to make it harder on people, even if they don't care about it. We don't need to make it harder on the medical professionals. We don't need to make it harder on people on the front lines. So, you people, me included, watch your leaders. When that voting comes in November, now that's what I feel a lot more optimistic, that you'll start seeing a real picture of a curve flattening before November. But, we're that impatient. We can't let May go by and still hold the reins in. Like, the beach, if the beach is one of your priorities, when there is a pandemic and there is a virus just killing people, you got issues. Not a beach in the world. And I'm a beach babe. Stay at the beach, love the beach. But it is not necessary. It's not. So I just wanted to kind of throw that music on there. But the test, we're going to be talking about that from here to the rest of the week, because that is what many of us are covering. Some people saying not sufficient testing. There's not enough. There really is not enough, bottom line, to go around for people. And then what about the people who refuse to test? Are the people who refuse to come in? What about all of this asymptomatic? Could be walking around right now, any of us. It's not going to affect us, but we go around other people, it may affect them. We definitely need to keep those stay-at-home orders in place. I love what a lot of governors are doing. They're asking the questions. They're doing the pushbacks. I love what the mayors are doing of different places. And they are listening to what people are saying. And they're holding people responsible and accountable. You have got to be responsible first and foremost for your own life. If you are in good health and you don't have these symptoms, or even the symptoms that are not there, because that's just how this virus works. medical, scientific, bacteriologists, everyone who is trying to get that vaccine in and understand for the research and for the progression of calming it down are saying we don't have a full handle on this virus. So we need to get it together. Before I'm out of here, stay close to the CDC. Google is a good friend of yours. It's a good friend of ours. Go in and put coronavirus statistics in your state. It will show you the counties and show you those numbers, because that is what's around you. Then go to the states surrounding you. Then look at even the world, since they're going to be opening back up. So you're going to open back up your state. So for those people who you kept at bay, who were trying to flee their states because they had higher numbers, it contained the numbers in your state. This Halls is great for our throats. It controlled the numbers. It controlled the numbers greatly. Now everybody wants to wide open. So then you're going to have people coming from near and far. Some people are summer birds, winter birds. They have homes, different places, or relatives that they can come to. But I'll tell you one thing. Ooh. Y'all heard my little southern twang, one thing. It's going to be some relatives that say, no, you can't come this way. We're still on quarantine. We love you. I was thinking about coming from such and such place. We're sorry. No vacancies. We need you to stay home, child. Bruh, sister, loved one, darling. Stay home. We're just not going to do that visiting right now. I mean, or, as soft or as to the point you need to be. And that's going to take your responsibility. Not that you don't love your loved ones, but keep your stay-at-home measures in your own home and protect yourself. I just think right now we're playing with fire, trying to open back up stuff. And I am just so disappointed with Jacksonville. I'm not from Jacksonville now. Floridian, paternal family. A lot of them hail in Carolina. Paternal family, Florida. I'm from Tampa. But still, I don't even understand what that was about. Opening up those beaches. Open up those beaches. It's like, what is going on? But people, it is up to you. When they don't think for you, think for yourself. Again, those who have to go back to work, be on it. What do you have in place for us now that we come back in? Did y'all fumigate the place before we coming back? I want questions. I have questions. Okay? That's just being responsible. You got questions. You want to know what's going on. Get those questions for me, and then let's just kind of see what we're doing here. Responsibility. Where is the responsibility? Where is it? All right, so before I'm out of here, and I thank you so much for locking in, and lock in whenever you need to lock in. We'll be rolling out this live stream. And thank you so much to 1021 Media Group, the contributing editors and the contributing interns. This is quite the moment, especially for the interns. I mean, really getting in here and researching. And even for us as media professionals who have been reporting for years. I've been in media reporting for over 20-something years. Live remote. What does this tell us? It's not just the bad things that have come to play, but also there's some good things to come to play. And we will be talking about that on the next series. But before I'm out of here, the stimulus that has gone out from the Internal Revenue Service, the economic impact payments, watch out for the con artists. You get your money either through the mail, or you're going to get your money direct deposit, however you set that up with the IRS. Stop getting on social media, telling people that you got your check. Just stop doing that. Even if family, friends, or members call or ask you, did you get your check yet? Either be blunt and say, look, I don't want to be talking about that. I don't want to be talking about my business. Stop counting my coins, or let's just talk about something else. Or just, if you don't want to be that direct, just say, no, I haven't gotten it yet. I'll be like, I don't want to talk about that. But be aware of the con artists or anybody who's asking you to use your checks for anything other than to help yourself. We do have some glitches that happen that prevented some checks from going out. Some people got overpaid. We're just hearing a lot of things. But we do have the rumblings in media and out there for you all to see as well about a second stimulus check that should be coming. And we're going to see how that goes into play. Will we see the second stimulus where they do it monthly for 6 months or not? With the president asking the governors to put the ball in their court to open back up their states, this is a direct moment to say, if we could do that, then we don't have to do any other stimulus checks. I still think that is irresponsible. I don't think no one is saying, I want a freebie. I think people should stay at home and protect themselves until you get a proper thing in place for them when they go back, because we haven't heard anything about that. What are the proper precautions that you are giving me coming back into a job? Did you fumigate it before we left? Are you going to fumigate it before we come back? What fumigations and safety stuff are you all going to do when we do come back? Okay? Those are legitimate questions. And I hope if you are impacted to go back that you ask those questions. And if it doesn't sound right to you, call your governor and say, what's going on? I think that May should be a stay-at-home still. Then look at those numbers and maybe possibly open it back up July. Not even June. And just roll out some more stimulus. Even if it's not the 6 months that we heard projected, roll out the stimulus for 3 more months. People have real bills to pay. And not just this $1,200. Do we force them back into the workforce without giving them the proper protection that they need and the proper safety that's going to go into place when they go back to these jobs? Even if you're an independent worker and you're going someplace that you normally go to, what kind of impact are you going to have? What did they roll out to keep people safe when you coming in and out, even as a business owner? 2, countries should say lockdown. Roll out more stimulus checks. Propose a bill if people have families with, and have them call in and do or fill out a form online for itemizing their bills, and then have a team in place at the IRS to take a look at that and then give them a stimulus according to this, that, and that. We'll talk about that too. We'll talk about that scenario later on. But stay close to your local news networks. Look at those stats for yourself. If you are impacted to go back to work, ask those questions and concerns. If you see concerns in your neighborhoods, you hold people accountable. If the law enforcement doesn't want to be held accountable for things, because we understand their scaredness and all that, but you take an oath to protect the law. If you have people calling in, citizens who are telling you about something, and you refuse or are nonchalant to not check it out, you are part of the problem, and you should be dealt with just like anyone else. Okay? And if you don't get what you need when people do not have it to give you, you keep going up to the chain of commands until you find someone who will speak on it, or go to the media to keep yourself and the people around you safe. That's all I have here. Thank you for locking in. I'm BEBE Davis. Stay close to your news networks. Again, we want to make this a we thing, not so much of a race thing, and keep everyone healthy and keep as much as we can protected. And we should not put at risk even more so the people who are on the front lines and the medical professionals who are out there who are already into a mental state themselves. We should not put any more on them because somebody is so cooped up and can't stand the four walls closing or anything like that. We're about saving lives and getting these numbers really to flatten. And I'm a statistical person. It takes a comparison of time to come up with saying this is being flattened and this is not being flattened, or this is how this looks and then now it's okay. We haven't had those numbers because we haven't had those times. We haven't had time enough to lock down enough to do that. So governors, people who vote them in, hold yourself and hold everyone accountable. I'm BEBE Davis. Thanks for locking in to Coronavirus 2020 series, Deactivating Once Upon a Normal. And more to come. It has been my pleasure. You can look for our social media to post this live stream on Twitter, on Instagram, on Facebook, and you come right back here to see when the next upcoming live stream will happen. I'm BEBE Davis. Thank you so much for locking into 1021 Magazine. I'm publisher and founder since 2002. And we thank you so much for locking in. Be well. Love and light to everyone because we really appreciate the love. It's so many people that we talk to and they have concerns. We'll be opening up those concerns to you all. I want to just kind of take a look over the numbers and we would definitely open them up and express them because this could be some of the questions and concerns that you have. And we'll be debunking some of the myths and stuff out there and all of that good stuff. So we're going to have a wide variety of talking points for this particular series. We thank you so much for locking in. And I will keep you updated on my concerns for this community here and what can be done about the situation with the illegal racing and with people social gathering when they're not supposed to. You just hold people accountable. So thank you so much for locking in. Have yourself a wonderful night. What I'm going to do is watch some more of the media coverage that is happening. And then from there, I'm going to settle myself down. And I'm going to do some meditation. And then I'm going to do some light reading. And maybe take in a nice classic movie from Turner Classic Movies. Okay? And call it a night. So it is 10:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Again, thank you so much for locking in. I will be winding myself down. And I'll probably get into bed and chill. Probably around a little bit after midnight. But thanks so much for locking in. Be safe. Love and light. We're all going through this, but together we are resilient people. We are resilient Americans, and we are just resilient people all around the world. Love and light, everyone.